Hello and welcome, core lecturers, and to all of the Access family in general. It's DC from the Access programme here. Most of you, I hope, will remember me from what scientists are now referring to as the normal world. Since the end of what scientists call the normal world, many of you will have been stuck in at home on lockdown, and I imagine quite a few of you will have been wondering questions like, what's Dr. Carl been up to? Or when can I be involved in a habitable planet again? Well, the exciting news for you is the time to find out the answers to those questions has come, and the place to find out the answers to those questions is right here. Well, actually, not right here. We need to go into the lecture theatre to hear a very exciting presentation. So, looks like it's that way.
Okay. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, whatever time you're listening. I hope you've all found a good seat, and welcome here to our lecture theatre at Access. As I just introduced myself, I'm DC from the Access programme, and in this talk today, I am going to be giving you a little bit of an introduction to our FAST programme. Our FAST programme stands for Far Apart Science Together. It's a way of making science learning on the web, or slow, hopefully just that little bit less slow and a little bit more interesting and entertaining. Okay, so that's really what I'm here to do today. FAST is going to be our big project from Habitable Planet for the winter of 2020. Before I proceed, you need to go and give a little bit of background. Most of you will be familiar with all of this, but I just wanted to run through some of the important things that went into the production of FAST, and to basically explain why it is we find ourselves here at this point. So firstly, to know about FAST Habitable Planet, we need to know about the habitable planet itself. I reckon pretty much everybody watching this video is a bit of a pro on that, right? And so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but we know that the Habitable Planet workshops, they've run since 2007. They were originally at UCT, and then they've moved in the Department of Science and Industry funded phase since 2010 to the CSIR. And they involve undergraduate workshops. We do a few of those a year. They now involve schools outreach programs. We do about 6 of those a year. And we do our leadership training, which most of you will be familiar with, where we train core lecturers and we train volunteers for the schools program. The centre of gravity has always been around our undergraduate offerings. They happen 3 times a year in June, July and December. And one of the big different things that differentiates Habitable Planet from quite a lot of other offerings in the field is the fact that we go to great lengths to try and promote science and engage with students who are from groups that have previously been or felt excluded from science research. And to do that, we have a few principles that have been really important to us, one of which has been always trying to ensure that the Habitable Planet workshops are accessible to everyone, independent of means. And that's been very big, that we've tried to make it free at the point of use. Famously, the 3 F's. The Habitable Planet is free, there's food, that's important, everybody needs to eat, and it's fun. That's one of the big things that we've tried to do. And I know throughout the years we've not always been perfectly successful in that, but it's been one of the guiding principles, try to keep it free at the point of use. Another thing is that we've tried to tackle confidence issues through confidence building activities. We've tried to tackle demographic representation and the ways in which people learn better through each other, through instilling peer learning, through a lot of that and much other stuff which many of you will be familiar with. What we're trying to do is to foster a habitable planet, an inclusive, multicultural environment in which everybody feels free to ask questions and to learn critically, in which everybody feels free to contribute. And that's been a really big part of the work that we're doing. And through that, and I've skipped over, I haven't really mentioned the science. So we're teaching Earth System Science. Most of you are familiar with that. That's an important part of the workshop too. But the combination of the what we're teaching and the how we're teaching it is really what makes Habitable Planet quite so special. And a lot of students in their feedback on the workshops then report the workshops as actually being a life-changing experience. It's beyond just a training workshop. It's something that really intervenes in their life and changes it for the better. And so that's been one of the great successes of Habitable Planet. A few years ago, I had a chat with the founder of Access, Professor George Philander, and he said to me on a Skype call, he's in America now, and he said, you know, Carl, the Habitable Planet workshops, they've been really successful, don't get me wrong, but how many students do you possibly see a year? 100, maybe 200 max? That's not going to make a real difference in the way that science is perceived and in the number of students doing Earth system science in South Africa. And so he said, well, what I think you should do is try and take it online. We could reach more students that way. And so back in 2016, that's exactly what we did. We took the Habitable Planet workshops online, and since then we get about 800 people a year signed up to do the online classes. Many of you out there will have actually done core lectures, and you'll have done an online version, and some of you out there will actually have that online version in the online course, which is absolutely brilliant, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't want to knock the online course. It's been superb, and getting 800 people into the curriculum of Habitable Planet a year is something we couldn't hope to do physically, so that's absolutely brilliant. However, it's been really difficult to try and capture those personal interactions, that making the learning environment encouraging, that actually presenting an environment in which everybody feels free to ask questions. To do that with 800 people, it's really tough. And I would say perhaps it's even impossible. I don't like to use the word impossible, but in this case, it seems like it's as close as we know to that. It gets really difficult to foster those interpersonal interactions, and that means that we don't so often get students reporting it as being life-changing. The last thing that we need to know in the background is that, as you're all, I'm sure, no doubt aware, the world is now trying to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic, and that has led to the postponement of our winter programme in 2020. And so, principally, that got us to thinking about how can we envisage a programme that keeps all of those values of Habitable Planet, that's accessible, that brings people together in this constructive learning environment in which everybody feels free to ask questions and to take part and to build those interpersonal connections in a way that we can do whilst socially distanced, not differenced. That would be very bad. So that's really the background to what we're doing, and I can summarize it quite nicely in a couple of pictures here that I've put together for you. So this one I picked from our recent training workshops. I think it's a really nice picture in that it beautifully summarizes what it is that the Habitable Planet workshop can do that our current online program fails to do. And this is day one, right? We've got the networking with the boomwhackers going on. I think Tiamo was in charge of this session. And immediately in the photo, what can you see? You can see that these two have already made that interpersonal connection. This is a connection that looks real. I mean, it looks perhaps, some might say, a little bit too real. We shall see. But more importantly, right, this is the kind of connection that fosters an environment in which people are going to learn. This is the kind of thing that we need to be able to do. However, as I just said, unfortunately, what's happened in 2020 is we've had the pandemic. We now have to be careful about spreading the COVID-19 virus. And so that means that what we've done is we've isolated ourselves and we've socially distanced, not differenced, ourselves away in order to prevent and mitigate the pandemic. But that's a problem for our Habitable Planet workshops. What we'll have to try and do with the FAST workshop is find a way of bringing these two back together across the online platform. So this image here is what I hope FAST can be able to do whilst bypassing all of those horrible viruses in between. So that's in a nutshell. To recap our background, we had Habitable Planet. It was great. We have these interpersonal relationships building. We foster an environment in which learning can occur. However, when we bring that online, it's very difficult to do that with 800 people. How do we respond to that? So, as you'll probably already be aware, our response to that is referred to as the HPW FAST Programme. I will have provided everybody with a fast track guidebook that all of the participants are going to have. So I hope that you'll all refer to that. If you don't have one, you can drop me a line. I can give you one. The fast track tells you all about what fast is and what we're going to do. But to summarize here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring small groups together using, we're thinking, the Zoom technology, and we're going to do with those small groups in person. So we're all going to be looking at each other in a group of about 6, we think, adding core lecturers to that. We're going to give the core lectures live, we're going to do the workshop sessions live, and we're even going to go as far, and I'll come to this a little bit more in a bit, about doing the teas and the gala dinner and all of those things that go into making a Habitable Planet workshop special. So that's the concept. We bring these groups of 6 together in a meaningful interaction around Earth system science while still keeping them far apart. We aim to try and recreate those physical interpersonal relationships, but actually where we're spaced apart. Some of that is by using the new Zoom technology. This is actually really helping us in interacting and seeing each other and feeling as if we are present. We're going to use, Zoom has a great function to have breakaway sessions. So you can actually, many of you may remember at the start of Habitable Planets, we often talk to a new partner. We can do that with Zoom. We can actually start to recreate some of that stuff that we've been doing in the workshops. But one really novel thing that we're going to do to try and achieve that accessibility, remember it should be available to everyone, and to try and help recreate that experience at home, is called the Fast Packs, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more. All of this wants to come together to try and create this memorable personal learning experience. We want students at the end of it to once again say, this was life-changing. So one of the really important things is the Fast Pack. I want to tell you a little bit about that. Many of you who've been around the Habitable Planet programme for a while may have seen our posters. They go up on every campus across the country. I do that by actually printing them in Cape Town and sending them out. The CSIR has a very good network of delivery men who I can call upon to go and drive packages of any sort almost anywhere in South Africa. And so that inspired the idea for the Fast Pack. Rather than delivering just a poster somewhere in South Africa, we're going to deliver to all the participants of the workshop a pack of materials that will allow anyone, we hope, to be able to take part in this workshop. So the first thing that will be in the Fast Pack is a tablet computer capable of doing Zoom, loaded with all the data they'll need for the workshop. We'll even try and tailor it to the student. We'll ask the participants beforehand what's the best network in their area, and then we can get them the network and the data for that network that is best for them. So that's really one of the key things, right? A tablet with the data ensures that everybody can get to join these Zoom sessions without worrying about whether their device is good enough or what it's going to cost them in data. But there's also other things going into that. We're going to get the Habitable Planet t-shirts. We're going to get them some posters to make their area or wherever they're joining feel accessy and habitable planety. But then we're going to even go further. We'll send them the tea and biscuits. So we're going to have tea breaks during the FAST workshops, and they'll be invited to go make the tea and, eat your biscuits together and have a chat just like at one of the real workshops. And we're hoping to still do a gala dinner. That requires getting them some kind of food. At the minute, we're investigating taking on KFC as a partner, as they appear to be the only organisation we can think of who are capable of delivering food to almost anywhere in South Africa. So in doing that, and I invite you to look at how these all fit in the Fast Tracks document, we're going to put together a real workshop experience. So, who's involved in FAST? Okay, there's some key role players involved in each workshop that I want to tell you about. The first is fairly obvious. We're going to have new participants. They have been selected from the students who originally applied to the winter workshops. In each FAST workshop, we intend to have 6 of them. So we will have 6 new students on the Zoom line for each new workshop. To help teach those, we are going to have a new role, something a little bit different that you guys won't be familiar with. So this is quite important. We are going to have 2 core lecturers, what we're going to call hosts of the workshops. The core lecturer hosts are going to join. You see I've got at the bottom there how much of the time each of these people will be involved in any given workshop. The 2 hosts who will be unique to each of the FAST workshops will join for the whole thing. And the idea is that they're the ones who will chair, but also they're ones who will be involved in helping build those relationships, those interpersonal relationships with the students, in helping fostering that learning environment, helping give it that Habitable Planet vibe, right? Because you guys are the ones that know Habitable Planet better than anyone, so you're going to be there to just help the students along, to be that almost like the core lecturer role at the real workshop for the whole time. Then obviously for the workshop we'll have some staff members there. We have from myself, probably from Access, and most of you are familiar with Peter from Vula Youth Development. He'll be on to say a few words in a minute. We'll be there. One or the other of us should be there at any one time in any workshop. And then lastly, and this is the other point where you guys mostly come in, we're going to need the core lecturers to come and deliver the core talks. We decided not to overload the core lecturers with responsibility, so we don't expect all 10 of them to be there the whole time. What we expect is for the specialist core lecturers to come in and give their talk and to stay around for that session. It's around 2 hours only. Okay, so that's the sort of time commitments. What sort of time is a FAST workshop and when will it be? Those are going to be important things for you to know to decide on which workshops you can commit to. This is what it looks like. The FAST workshops are going to be each a 5-day event, and it's 4 hours a day. That should be on my slide, I guess. So it's basically a morning or an afternoon commitment. It's going to take half of your day for a week. That is, of course, let me just say, if you are the host core lecturer, it's going to take half of your day for a week. But if you're the specialist core lecturer, you'll just be asked in on whichever day it is that your talk is. So we're going to have 6 FAST workshops, each held from Monday to Friday, starting towards the end of June. So basically we're mirroring when the Habitable Planet workshops would have been anyway. And then we have 1, 2, 3 solid weeks doing FAST workshops. Then there's a break. That's just to sort of review and see how we're doing and think if we can improve on how the workshops are going. And then we do 3 weeks again. It takes us into the first and second week of August. Within those workshop times, we have the 6 students working intensively. We're doing the core lectures, we're doing workshop sessions. I've actually got a group working on sorting out modeling workshops to use online. That's going to be quite exciting. I'm looking forward to that. These will be augmented with 6 key lectures that will happen on Wednesday afternoons throughout this period. Okay, so each Wednesday there'll be a key lecture, and that's a bigger live online event. That'll be an open stream that all groups F1 to 6 will all be invited to join, and anyone can come in and join. So the key lectures will work through like that, involving all of the groups. So that's really what FAST is. Lastly, just a little bit of relating it to you. I can imagine a lot of you are sat there thinking that you've been through the core lecture training, and we did the online training, which I have to say, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back because you guys are doing so well at online lectures. We must have got that training really good. And so you're probably now a pro at online teaching, right? You've done your lecture. And firstly, don't get me wrong, yes, you are. Well done, all of you. You are totally pros at online lecturing. There's no team I know who's got that kind of skills. But we can all still improve, right? And FAST gives you, as a core lecturer, that chance to actually improve on your online teaching and online interacting skills. It looks like COVID-19 is here for a while, and so these kind of skills are going to be becoming more and more important. And if you look into academic literature, one of the first things you'll see coming through, and this is in the education, obviously academic literature in the sciences has gone mad on COVID-19, academic literature in terms of education theory has gone mad on online learning. And one of the big things that comes through again and again is that online learning is more than just recording your lectures and putting them out there. There's a whole host of skills that go into it, and a lot of it is centering around what we're doing here with the FAST program. It's in actually bringing across those teaching interpersonal relationships across the internet. And so what taking part in FAST gives you is an opportunity to really develop those skills. The IT skills, to be familiar with different ways of hosting online and different ways of using online apps, but also the interpersonal and teaching skills, right? Being familiar with not just how to use those apps, but how to use them to teach effectively. So that's really one of the important things you'll gain from joining this as a core lecturer. Another important thing is that we're still going to give these core lectures live one day, I hope, in the after time and when we're allowed to meet again. And actually this experience of giving your core lecture will improve it, and it will improve your lecturing skills overall. We'll obviously award you a new leadership certificate, so there's some kudos within the Habitable Planet program for doing this. And for those that haven't actually been to core lecture at a physical workshop, I'm talking to you, the class of 2020. I'm very sorry for you that this has happened on your watch because I was so excited to see all of your lectures. For those who've actually given their time up to come and help with the FAST workshops, we're going to give you guys priority when it comes to assigning places at the physical workshops. So, that's my story for you today. I mean, in summary, we've done quite a lot of really great work with the Habitable Planet, and in terms of those interpersonal things, although the online course has been brilliant and has really increased the footprint, we haven't really succeeded with the online course in bringing that interpersonal aspect across. And so, nobody chose for COVID-19 to happen. I didn't want the class of 2020 core lecturers to not be able to be in Polokwane in Cape Town this winter, but it's the situation that we're faced with. And we can choose what we do with that situation. And here at Access, what we've chosen to do is this idea of FAST, of trying to, in an inclusive way that excludes no one, bring across that Habitable Planet experience, that interpersonal experience to the latest group of new students. And we think that that's something really meaningful that we can actually do with the time to contribute to helping education in South Africa and helping the country actually progress forward during this pandemic. And so really, the nutshell, the essence, the conclusion, whatever the pinnacle of my talk is to ask you, who's keen? Who's going to come with us on this FAST journey and help achieve all of this? I'm hoping that's you, and I will see you there.
Good. I mean, I've seen him speak a few times, and it's always really good. Even online format. That was Oh, sorry, I forgot you guys were still there. Okay, core lecturers, that's about it, I think, for today from me. I hope you found your way to the tea and coffee and that you're enjoying those. And as you know, at tea time, one thing that can be relied on is for Peter to be saying something, and he'd like to say a few words now. Peter, I've got you some coffee. Here you go, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carl. It's a nice hot cup of coffee, and thank you so much for that excellent presentation. I am very confident that everyone is now very clear on how the FAST program is being planned to be rolled out. If you hear my voice, clap once, twice, 3 times, once, louder. Okay, fabulous. Everyone's with me. FAST, HPW, FAST. We are all stuck at home. It is rather very sad that we can't have our usual HPWs, and especially for this year's core lecturers, to not go to either Cape Town or Polokwane to lecture. However, we've got something else at least. We'll be connecting, we'll be bringing people together, we'll be talking about climate change, we'll be speaking about personal development, we will be creating an experience for new planeteers to take with them further to their studies in life. And I am super happy that you've all signed up and are going to be part of that. We do need your support, not just as core lecturers or online core lecturers, but really we need our and your creativity and innovation and imagination to use the tools and the space that we have, to use them best to bring the HPW vibe and values alive, right? The values, amongst others, are situated learning, personal development, right? We normally have field trips, we normally have a space and a culture that we create together. So we need to do the same thing as much as we can through the online tools that we have, through like the kind of a webinar workshop that FAST is. So we need to bring it alive, we need to create a space, we need our imagination. And I'm super happy and grateful for the team that has been working on the concept so far. And I'm very excited to have you all on board and thinking with us. I'm confident it's going to be an amazing experience. And I'm also grateful that I'm part of it, and I think it's also a super opportunity for you, because we don't know how long the virus is going to stay. Let's hope as short as possible, but I mean, we'll be talking months, not weeks, right? And I don't know how many. However, once hopefully the virus is gone, online learning, webinars, and distance learning and teleconferencing is definitely here to stay. So for all of us to experience it and be part of designing and hosting and lecturing an online workshop is a great experience that will definitely be able to take further and will assist us in the future in terms of the knowledge, the comfort, the confidence, and the technological kind of tools and how to work with them, right? So I don't want to talk much longer. That's really it from me, and I can't wait to meet you all in meetings one-on-one, however, whichever way we'll be meeting up in groups or pairs or smaller groups or bigger groups in terms of preparing for the first FAST workshop coming up on the 22nd of June or 20-something of June. So thank you very much. I'll be handing over to Mendy. Mendy will be introducing herself. There she is. Mendy, your chai latte. Bye.
Thank you, Peter. This is not frothy, Peter. What is this? That is yummy. My name is Mendy Shozi, hailing all the way from Durban, and I am an HPW alumnus. Back in 2014, I was one of the students that took the first online version of the Habitable Planet workshop, and yeah, it was so much fun. I've served in the NEC, I'm just part of the advisory committee on an ad hoc basis with HPW. It's been a pleasure being part of the planning committee for the FAST workshop, because we're able to test drive this online learning platform and how it would work and everything, and try to get the bugs out. The team that we were working with was amazing. Peter and Carl led very well. And yes, we got a lot of work done and a lot of issues ironed out. And we are hoping that it will be a great experience for you. You guys are pioneering a new era for Access and HPW. Okay. I'd like you guys to take full advantage of this experience, and it will look great on your CV. You're going to be able to maneuver your way through any online platform, whether it be for meetings, to do webinars, conferences, a video call, whatever. And it'll be a great learning curve for you, and it's a skill that will go on for a while. This is something that will still continue. People make use of online platforms all the time, and I think maybe Access might continue using it for other panel discussions and ad hoc presentations here and there. So yeah, you guys should be blessed to be a part of this experience. And of course, thank you guys for giving your time to do this. I know you guys wanted to be at the face-to-face workshop in July, but yeah, it is what it is. So please make the most of it, and we'll be watching. Yeah, we'll see your videos up on YouTube. So yeah, have fun, enjoy, and yes, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye guys.